You can't, y'all don't even know me if you could see him. You understand? If we could see him. Don't eat, you ain't even got nothing to say to the man, Father, if his son the one about to chop your neck off. Whatever my son decides is what I agree with, because I gave him his power. Okay, let's move on. We in Revelation 22 verses 1 through 3, so I can get y'all out of here.
22 verses 1 through 3.
Uh-huh.
And he showed me a pure river of water, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. In the midst of the street of it, on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of God and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him.
See, that house in Ezekiel, I believe it just represented the place where his throne gonna sit. But it itself was not necessarily the important factor. The important factor was what? That the city is called, the Lord is there, and that's what it's going to be called forever. That's what's important. That's what's different from anything we've ever known. The Lord is there. So yeah, it's a building there. He showed it. But if Ezekiel said, I heard him in the house, he showed me in symbolism, he went in there and he talked with me from in there and said, yo, tell them this is the place where the soles of my feet will be forever. When you sit on the throne, you know what's with you? Your feet. You don't leave them. So wherever your soul, when you sit down and your feet sit on that ground, that's where the soles of your feet sit in power. He said that's where he was going to sit forever, in the midst of the children of Israel. Do not get mystified in, well, why wasn't it no temple? Because Revelation is a book of super symbols, and it's trying to teach you something about this Jerusalem that God is creating. That's different from anything Israel has ever known or mankind has ever known. Now, this pure river of water of life, clear as crystal. I bet you that tastes good. Better than Poland Springs. Better than the water that we got in these distillers. And in the midst of the street of it, on either side of this river, there was a tree of life, and it bare fruit, and the fruit came every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. Now, if this is New Jerusalem, and it's this place where there will be no flesh and blood, well, ain't no flesh and blood. What's the healing all about? Why you need trees growing with fruit on it to heal anybody, to heal the nations? For what? There ain't no flesh and blood. Why do nations need, what is nations as a matter of fact? What's that? Nations is a term dealing with flesh and blood. But in the Father's kingdom, it's just going to be nothing but God forever. Okay, well, what do these nations need to be healed from? If this is just this kingdom that's supposed to pop up after the 1,000 years that's going to come out the sky after he destroyed Gog and Magog. See, what's happening is they read in Revelation 20 about this thing that's going to happen in the 1,000 years with Satan, Gog and Magog, fire coming down from God out of heaven. And then he said, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth. And they just put it all together. Well, go read Ezekiel. Read Revelation 20 on your own and put it with Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39, I believe. And tell me if it's not the exact same thing. And then after chapter 38 and 39, talking about how he destroyed Gog and Magog, guess what happened? Chapter 40, he see the vision of this city. Chapter 21, John see the vision of a city coming from God. If you just want to get into comparisons. So, yeah. Here we go. We got this river of life. Go to Zechariah 14 again. Yo, all of this is here. Notice we've been in Revelation, Zechariah, Isaiah, and Ezekiel. Zechariah, Isaiah, Revelation, and Ezekiel. And I went to one other place. I think I went to Psalms one time. But everything has been between these 4 books. Okay. Yeah. So, you got it, bro? Zechariah 14, verses 6 through 9.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, But it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night. But it shall come to pass that evening time shall be light.
Now we have read that already. Continue.
And it shall be in that day that living water shall go out from Jerusalem.
Now here he said he saw a river of water of life. Here Zechariah see living water. What's the difference between a river of water of life and living waters?
Nothing.
And will he call this a river? I don't know. We're going to find out. Continue.
And it shall be in that day that living water shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one.
Now, you tell me how there could be one Lord and his name one without the Father.
Elohim.
Is there any way to explain that now, Sean? Yeah, in that day there shall be one Lord and his name one.
Okay, bro. Okay.
Akkad. They're one. Brothers and sisters, I see the whatever God is, the Father and the Son together and all that. That's what I understand. There to be one Lord and his name one in that day. But is this now? Look, new heaven and new earth. He ain't see no more sea though. So how could this be that when this water in Revelation 22 is coming out of the throne, and you see these trees with these fruit on the side of the rivers for the healing of the nations? Here, I see living waters, bruh, coming out of Jerusalem, but seeing Christ in the kingdom of the Son, there's still a sea. Because these waters go into the former sea and the hinder sea. And in summer and winter, this is going to always be. Well, maybe sea in Revelation 21 ain't what you thought sea was. Possibly, if they the same. I think they the same. I know they'll try to separate them, but I believe they are the same. Go to Ezekiel 47. We're going to read verses 1 through 12. Ezekiel 47, verses 1 through 12. Now, if you want to say Zechariah and John, we're talking different. Well, I know at least Ezekiel and Zechariah should be talking similar. Ezekiel 47, verses 1 through 12, bro. Go ahead.
Okay. Afterward he brought me again unto the door of the house, and behold, waters issued out from under the threshold of the house eastward, for the forefront of the house stood toward the east, and the waters came down from under the right side of the house at the south side of the altar. Then brought he me out of the way of the gate northward, and led me about the way without unto the utter gate by the way that looketh eastward.
Now remember, why did I say that the house represent where God sits? That's all it represent. The house in Ezekiel ain't necessarily in opposition of what Revelation was. In Revelation, he just saw the throne of the Father and the Lamb. Here, he saw the house. And the water came, in Revelation, the water came from under the throne, right?
Yeah.
And then Zechariah said it's water that just came out of Jerusalem. But Ezekiel letting you know where in particular in Jerusalem the water started at. Oh, it came from under the east side of the house. If that house is where God sit forever, and that's the place of the soles of his feet, that's where his throne is. That's what the house represents in Ezekiel. The throne of God. And these waters is coming from that house, aka throne, out of the east side, and they going out and they going through Jerusalem, and they about to start to come in contact with the other waters on the earth. This all look the same to me. Am I confusing y'all? Because I may be up here just talking to myself. Am I confusing y'all? Huh? All right. Good. That's good. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother. Tell me continue that. I won't interrupt you. Go ahead.
And when the man that had the line in his hand went forth eastward, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters the waters were to the ankles. Again he measured 1,000 and brought me through the waters were to the knees. Again he measured 1,000 and brought me through the waters were to the loins. Afterward he measured 1,000, and it was a river that I could not pass over, for the waters were risen, waters to swim in, a river that cannot be passed over.
So the waters start out ankle deep, and by the time they get further away from the throne of God, now they swim deep, and they turn into a river. And what this river going to empty into? He said it's going to lead, it's going to come out of Jerusalem, and it's going to go towards the seas, and going to go into the seas of the earth. Go ahead and read.
And he said unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen this? Then he brought me and caused me to return to the brink at the river.
So he said, yo, so you see this, right? You son of man, you see what I'm showing you? Now I'm going to bring you back to where you began. Now he going to see something that wasn't there the first time. Oh, it's there the second time, though, because this is a vision. Go ahead.
Now when I had returned, behold, at the bank of the river were very many trees, one on the one side and on the other.
Yes.
Then said he unto me, these waters issue out toward the sea, toward the east country, and go down into the desert, and go into the sea, which being brought forth into the sea, the waters shall be healed.
The waters on the earth are going to be healed. And there's a sea here. So there's got to be the Son kingdom, because, you know, in the Father's kingdom, in Revelation 21, ain't no more sea in the new heaven and new earth. Just remember that. But here we see a sea, and we see that he's telling the pathway, and it's going to do what? This water does what? It heals.
It heals.
It heals. Continue.
And it shall come to pass that everything that liveth, which moveth, whithersoever the rivers shall come, shall live. And there shall be a very great multitude of fish, because these waters shall come thither. For they shall be healed, and everything shall live whither the river cometh. And it shall come to pass that the fish that stand upon it, from the Engedi even unto the Engelim, they shall be a place to spread forth nets. Their fish shall be according to their kinds, as the fish of the great sea, exceeding many. But the miry places thereof and the marshes thereof shall not be healed. They shall be given to salt.
Continue.
And by the river upon the bank thereof, on this side, on that side, shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to its months, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary. Their waters, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary. And the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine. Water issued out the sanctuary.
The water came out the sanctuary. Wherever God's throne is, that's where the true sanctuary is. These waters gave life to these trees that grew up on the sides of the river. In Revelation, they were called the tree of life, and 12 manner of fruit was produced on them every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. Well, here we have these trees on both sides of the river that come out of the house, from under the sanctuary of God. And the fruit shall be produced on them according to their months. They shall never be diminished. So every month this tree always full of the fruits on it. And the leaf is for medicine. But in Revelation 22, he said that the leaves were for the healing of the nations.
Yeah. Medicine.
What do medicine do?
Heal.
Oh, so like if your kid's sick and you give it some medicine, what you expect the medicine to do? Heal. Brothers and sisters, why are we being taught that Revelation 21 and chapter 22 is different from all of this we reading in the prophets?